Let's take a look at the starting lineup, Eric. Brent Cruz, William Sawalich, teammates up on the front row.
In row 2, Phoenix winner from a couple of years ago in the ARCA Menards Series side, Tyler Reif, starting alongside the Pinnacle Racing Group number 28. Normally Brendan Queen drives that car on the national side. Austin Green has been tagged to wheel that car from 4th.
Our Bonnie Rookie Spotlight driver, Laney Bice, back there in 5th position alongside Jake Finch in the number 20.
We flip to the rest of the field of cars that make up our field, including Spencer Gallagher and his return to national competition after stepping away from the sport back in 2018 alongside of Timmy Hill, one of the few drivers who has run here before in today's field.
Andrew Patterson and Zachary Tinkle there in row 8. Blaine Donahue and Takuma Koga back there in row 9. And there is a look at the 39 car. Caleb Costner scheduled to start the 39 car. I do believe that this is going to be London McKenzie perhaps in this car. London had a heavy crash in the 93, the team car there at the end of practice. As we get the 1 to go signal, next time by, we will go racing for 125 laps. Denise Engel up in the flag stand, the only full-time female starter for a nationally touring stock car series. Good to have Denise here with us. And of course, Mark Honkamp in the pace truck leading the field down the backstretch. Well, you got to wonder what the nerves are like there in those two cars on the front row. A couple of young drivers, Brent Cruz and William Sawalich on the front row. Tyler Reif alongside Austin Green back there in row 2. Every one of those 4 guys up in the front going to be a contender to win here today. We're going to keep an eye on that pace truck. Eric, Mark Honkamp bringing it down onto pit road. Brent Cruz, William Sawalich bringing them to the green flag. And folks, it is time to rock, roll, and rumble here at the Rock. Green flag up, and we are racing at Rockingham Speedway. On the break, Brent Cruz going to get the jump. Here comes Tyler Reif trying to make it a battle for second down the backstretch and into 3. Sawalich going to hold them off.
Sawalich able to pull Reif around the outside. Behind him, things get a little bit tight there. That was one of the Rev Racing cars moving up wide. As Cruz is going to lead lap number 1. He's got about a 4-car length advantage over his teammate Sawalich as the top 3 are single file, side by side for 4th.
Brent Cruz was about 0.2 of a second quicker than everybody throughout the course of practice the last couple of days as we see the first battle for position. There's Jake Finch to the inside, and he's going to get sideways into turn 3. Hard contact into the outside wall. LeVar Scott also involved.
Oh, Zachary.
Caution, going to be out for the first time today.
Zachary Tinkle did a masterful job avoiding the car of Jake Finch as he came off the wall, and for LeVar Scott, he had nowhere to go. Wrong place, wrong time once that 20 car broke free. And the ARCA Menards Series Talladega winner from 2024 in one of his few starts on the east side has shortened up the back end of that race car.
Let's see if we can take a look at what happened there. Eric going off into turn 3 to the inside of Austin Green. He's going to drive it in deep, and it looks like the rear end just jumped out into the outside wall. And LeVar Scott, boy, LeVar's going to come out of this. He's going to have some damage to that car, Eric, but I don't think it's going to be anywhere near as bad as it could have been. One more look from inside turn 3. Keep an eye on that 20 car as he dives off into 3.
That car got free as soon as he tried to cut down to the line. I mean, as soon as he approached his entrance to that 3rd turn, it snapped sideways on him. And we talked about the emotional weekend it's been so far for Venerini Motorsports. They got 2 bullets in the chamber here. Patrick Staropoli still running out on the racetrack in a top 10 spot. But I'm not sure that Jake Finch is going to be able to return to competition after he's been off to a great start to 2025, winning several races that he's been competing in full-bodied stock cars. Had high hopes coming into this race. He only made it a few laps in before trouble.
Boy, and LeVar Scott, you saw him just try to get to the outside, and that car did make some contact with the outside wall. I don't think the fenders are rubbing in on those tires at all, and if they are, they certainly could probably be pulled out. But there you see Jake Finch, and I think he is about to climb out of that car. An early end to the day for the driver who dominated that race at Talladega Super Speedway in 2024. Led every lap. How often do you see that at a plate race?
The good news for Jake is the opportunity to maybe shake this off is a week away. He's entered into the race again at Talladega on the national side, also going to run Michigan, Dover, and Bristol as far as his ARCA Menards Series slate with Venerini Motorsports, and just came off of what was a win in the Baby Rattler and for the second year in a row in a Pro Late model. And he is helping that team get that car out of Dodge. There's only a few laps in before Jake Finch finds the wall in turn 3 and puts us under the caution for the first time in this race.
So there is Jake in the Gator right there. He will have to take the ride down to the infield care center, but obviously out of the car under his own power. Tough way to end the day for that young man out of Lynn Haven, Florida. He's going to keep his helmet on for the ride to the care center. Probably not a bad idea with someone else driving there, but there are the two drivers up front. Brent Cruz in the 81, William Sawalich in the 18, and I kept a close eye on Brent Cruz throughout the practice sessions yesterday, even earlier today. He has been able to keep that car on the white line on both ends of the racetrack, not just on a mock qualifying run, but even 10, 12, 15 laps into a run. That car has been handling extremely well. I think William Sawalich is going to have to do everything he can do to at least keep him in sight here once we get back green flag racing.
And on that initial start, I mean, Cruz was able to open up a healthy advantage. That was going to be the first time he would be in and around traffic pretty much over the course of the last 2 days. He got straight out of Dodge at the start of that race and had about a 4-car length lead when the first lap was concluded. So Sawalich and company, though, we're going to get a chance here to re-rack the field as they come to the 1-to-go signal this time. And Charlie, just as we started this race, Cruz is going to elect the bottom, Sawalich the top side.
Just want to update the fans at home. Again, a little bit different for the ARCA Menards Series platform than you would see in a NASCAR National Touring Series race. Only the pole sitter or the leader gets to elect the lane choice on these restarts. So Brent Cruz electing the bottom side, everybody else kind of falling in line, odd and even, odd to the inside, even to the outside. So Brent Cruz to the inside, William Sawalich to the outside. Tyler Reif and Austin Green kind of picking up where they left off, starting alongside each other back there in the second row. So we'll see if Brent Cruz can kind of replicate that initial launch he had on the start and jump out in front and maybe, hopefully, start to get some green flag laps under our belt here. So the field behind the pace truck in turns 3 and 4 coming to green. Coming to complete lap 6 of 125, the scheduled distance. Pace truck down onto pit road. Coming to the restart line, which is the second line on the racetrack there. Green flag back out, and on this green flag, William Sawalich trying to get the jump down into 1.
How tight is he going to put that car on the door of his teammate off of turn 2? Look at Cruz from the center of the corner get the surge off, but Sawalich fights back up top. We're going to stay side by side at 3 for the lead.
William Sawalich trying to use that momentum, but right now Brent Cruz using all the grip of that bottom lane. He's going to put the nose of the 81 car back out front. Cruz to the lead here at start finish. Sawalich second. Here comes Tyler Reif in the 23 car, and that car has been wicked fast every week. They just haven't had the luck to get the finishes that they wanted, particularly at Phoenix, but right now Tyler Reif looking strong, sitting in third.
Reif holding it down, the final spot on the podium as we check in on Cruz, who's opened up the advantage again over Sawalich. Reif reeling in Sawalich for that second spot. Tyler's someone who's been very busy. He's been racing a Pro Late model several times over the course of the last few weeks. Holds down third as we watch Isaac Kitzmiller in the 79 to the inside of Zachary Tinkle in the 11.
Jumping back up to the front of the field, there is Brent Cruz setting sail. He is in cruise mode as we see this battle for position. Andrew Patterson in the 40. There's Zachary Tinkle drifting way up the racetrack, and here comes LeVar Scott in the 6. They have indeed pulled those fenders off of the right side, and LeVar Scott going to try to work his way back through the field, currently sitting in 14th position.
Back up to Cruz, whose lead continues to grow off turn number 4. Going to come up on the back of Tim Goulet as they approach turn 1 to put Tim a lap down. But Cruz appears to be on cruise control at this point in the race, although things tighten up there off the corner, way down to the flat to get by Goulet. That was close.
You could see that one coming. The 31 wanted to get out of the way. He wanted to get as low as he could, but he didn't realize the 81 had that much momentum. But Brent Cruz with a good heads-up move put the car down on the flat of the racetrack. That could be a Reese's Sweet move of the race right there. Great move by Brent Cruz to avoid Tim Goulet. Don't forget, folks, you can log on to ARCARacing.com Monday afternoon at 3 p.m. to see who picks up today's Reese's Sweet move of the race. And right now, the 31 car, Tim Goulet, struggling to find the handle on that automobile.
Yeah, after he had that moment in turns 1 and 2, he went way up into the marbles in 3 and 4 and hasn't really been able to recover since as he continues to nurse that car for Rise Motorsports around the racetrack. Cruz, however, rebounded nicely. Sawallich closed up the gap considerably. Cruz now expanding it once more as he continues to rocket his way around this racetrack as we got one car smoking. That's Clay Aiken down the front straightaway.
Corey Aiken in the 00 car with some smoke out of the pipes, and that's a tough break. If it's coming out of the pipes, that means it's coming out of the engine. And you don't know how long that car is going to be able to last, but indeed, Corey Aiken, at least up to speed, and there you see when he gets off the gas, the smoke coming out of the pipes, that tends to tell me that might be a valve train problem in the engine of the 00 car for this young man. As the black flag from the starter stand to tell Corey Aiken to take that car down to pit road as the leaders start to work their way through some of this heavy lap traffic. Aiken off the pace, and he's going to come to the backstretch pit road where the ARCA Menards Series East teams are pitting here at Rockingham Speedway. As there is Brent Cruz continuing to set sail, and there is Eloy Falcon in the 10 car, way to the bottom side of the racetrack, working his way past Takuma Koga in the 12.
Falcon in that 10 car, that's a joint effort between Rev Racing and Andy Hillenberg's fast track team. He's having a great performance so far here today, as a lot of these front-running cars have been having to bob and weave their way through some of the tail end of the lead lap cars, or cars that have just now fallen off the lead lap. Cruz has pretty much been hammered down since the start of this race, as we see the battle starting to tighten up here for third.
1.9 seconds the difference between Brent Cruz and William Sawallich. This is the battle for third between Tyler Reif and Austin Green. About 2.6 seconds behind the lead, but these two have been going at it since the start of the race. And right now, Austin Green trying to find his way around that car, that 28 car again, as you said, the car that Brendan Queen has been in a couple of times this year to start the season, but that's also the team that Connor Zilic was dominant in 2024.
31 car of Tim Goulet has been posted by ARCA Menards Series East officials. They're trying to get that car down to the pit lane. He will forego the entrance to the backstretch pits that time through. Also, Brad Smith was off the pace on the front straightaway. He should make it back to the pits as the race stays green. Race leaders still clear out in front. Best battle that may be shaping up is for that third spot between that of Tyler Reif and Austin Green, as they're separated by about a car length or so, with Cruz still in full command of this race. There
is Brad Smith bringing that machine down onto pit road. Brad, of course, one of the longtime independent owner drivers. His career in the ARCA platform dates all the way back to 1988, and this is how long Brad's been in the scene. I'm an old guy too. I'm one of these gray beard veterans too, but the car that Brad Smith started his career with was an old Richard Petty car from the 1970s. Wow. That's how far his history dates back in the racing history book, as we see this battle for third and fourth continue to heat up. Here comes Austin Green in the 28.
You talk about history and lineage here. Of course, the Green name. Austin Green, the son of 1994 NASCAR Xfinity Series champion David Green. Although his father never went to victory lane here. Came very close several times as a runner-up finish here back in 2003. Uncle Jeff, though, in his championship season in 2000, did get a win here at the Rock. Austin trying to do that for himself in this ARCA Menards East event. He's had a very fast car, was the fastest car in the optional practice yesterday, and he is hounding the backside of the Sigma Performance 23 of Reif down the backstretch.
Tyler Reif, of course, picking up a couple of West wins, driving for Todd and Kelly Souza in 2024. That actually helped propel that team to the Owners Championship out west. Has made the leap into the Sigma Performance Services team, owner Joe Ferre. And I'll tell you what, I know you were on the call for this race out west at Phoenix. I thought Tyler Reif on that second to last restart had the momentum that could have sent him to victory lane. It just didn't quite work out that way.
I agree. Unfortunately for him, it had resulted in some pretty significant damage to that car as they shoot their way around the outside of the 06. And here comes Green to the bottom for third, and they're closing in on William Sawallich for second.
Can they thread the needle there around Zachary Tinkle in the 11, and they didn't get to him in time, but indeed, Austin Green going to take over the 3rd position. And ooh, that was a close call right there with Zachary off of turn 2.
Interesting story about Zachary Tinkle and the look of that orange and blue car. That was a contest-winning design by a 5-year-old Cub Scout that was pitched across the organization. In fact, that Cub Scout, James B., invited to the racetrack here, his design being chosen. Zachary giving it a good ride as we check in on our race leader, Brent Cruz, who, aside from having to slice and dice his way through some cars at the tail end of the field, smooth sailing for the ARCA Menards Series Phoenix winner, looking for his first win in the East Series.
You know, something I noticed when we were watching that battle for 3rd and 4th, those 2 cars, the 28 and the 23, about a half a groove up off of that white line on both ends of the racetrack. Brent Cruz keeping those left side tires pinned to the white line on both ends. So that 81 car handling very well. And here is another good battle for position. Laney Bice, our Bonnie rookie spotlight driver, holding on to 6th position. Here comes Andy Jankowiak in the 73. And that team had a lot of work to do yesterday. Andy got into the outside wall a little bit coming off of turn 2, knocked the rear bumper cover a little loose, did some damage to the right rear fender. That team spent a lot of time getting this very same race car back into shape. And they told me, talked to him first thing this morning, they said, no way, man, we're going to be just as fast as we were yesterday. Andy J showing that to be the case. He's working to the inside of Laney Bice down the backstretch. He'll take over that 6th position.
And he is hustling that car off the corner. And you're right, Charlie, that car doesn't look no worse for the wear after what they had to do to get it back in race shape. As he gets around Bice for the spot, Patrick Staropoli starting to close up there as well. As we check in on Cole Raz, and we talk about drivers who have a very diverse schedule. Cole has run 7 races so far in 2025 across the ARCA platform, out west at Tucson Speedway. His worst finish in all of those races, 6th. This kid's been on a roll this year.
Here's Patrick Staropoli. He is closed in on the number 2 of Laney Bice. This now the battle for 7th as we see the battle for 2nd starting to heat up here, Eric. Here comes Austin Green in the 28 car. He is closed in on the 18 of William Sawalich as we head off into turns 1 and 2.
Working their way around the outside of Blaine Donahue, who was one of the cars that had some misfortune in the morning practice session, got up into the outside wall. The team got the car repaired. They get by the 9 car without incident as Sawalich holds down that runner-up spot ahead of Austin Green in what was a kind of late announced venture to pair up with this Pinnacle Racing Group team that's been quite busy, that PRG bunch. They have a full-time entry in the ARCA Menards Series, of course. They ran at Five Flags Speedway with Connor Mozak, had a great run there. Tagged Austin Green for the opportunity here, and Austin's trying to make the most of it. He's on the back bumper of this JGR18 car, going into 3 for 2nd.
And of course, these 2 teams battled it out all season long for the ARCA Menards Series East Championship last year. Of course, William coming out on top after Connor Zilich involved in an early race accident with another car at Bristol Motor Speedway. But these 2 teams have gone head-to-head numerous times, and I remember them having maybe a little meeting of the minds at Dover last year where maybe not the meeting of the minds that they wanted to, but not always rosy glowing feelings between these 2 teams. But right now, William Sawalich and Austin Green racing each other pretty respectfully here, still in the early going of the Rockingham ARCA 125.
We've heard several drivers say that with the uptick in pace at this racetrack, it can be a little bit difficult to pass early in the going, and we're seeing that play out right here. I'm sure Austin may be hoping for either a slight bobble by Sawalich or maybe the help of some traffic to break the stride of that 18 car to open the door for him to walk through it. Just hasn't quite happened yet as he starts to fall back off the bumper of Sawalich, but this battle continues on.
You know, we haven't checked in with the leader, Brent Cruz, for a minute. It's because he's 5.3 seconds out in front of this battle for 2nd position. But right now, Austin Green still trying to keep William Sawalich in his sights. And that 28 car, I think, as we go longer in this run, that 28 car continuing to look a little bit stronger, as here is a battle for position 7th, 8th, and 9th. Laney Bice, Patrick Staropoli, and here comes Timmy Hill. Timmy made his 499th National Series start yesterday in the Truck Series race here. And one of those starts back here at Rockingham Speedway. He's the only guy who's ever raced here before.
Yeah, with this track racing the way it is, he probably took whatever notebook he had on this place and threw it right out the window on his way to the racetrack. As Staropoli gets a good drive there in the middle of 3 and 4. And talk about drivers with a very, very busy race schedule. Staropoli in that side Fovri, Venturini Motorsports number 25. Got some more ARCA races on his plate. Also going to run with the Cook Racing Technologies team this season. Got a start coming up there at Kansas. Patrick has been able to get back behind the wheel of a race car after focusing on his academic and professional career, and he brings a lot of jubilance at the racetrack. He is so happy to be back at the Speedway.
And you look at the difference between these two race cars. The two car looking a little unsettled through the center of the corner right there as Staropoli continues to try to race on the back bumper of Laney Bice. Here's another good battle. The battle continuing on for second position as they look to work their way past LeVar Scott. Evidently the damage to LeVar's car not able to allow him to stay on the lead lap. He's already gone a lap down to our leader, and now the second and third about to work their way past LeVar Scott as well.
See Green here trying to cut that car down midway through the corner. Got a good drive on the front stretch, looking low to turn one of the battle for second. So Walich keeps the door open just enough, but Green is not alongside yet. Got a good drive off too.
I talked to Joe Dan Bailey, who now works with the Toyota Gazoo Racing technology engine department. He's got a lot of experience. Has worked with a lot of great race teams, including the old Flying Aces with Dale Earnhardt Sr. at Richard Childress Racing. He's won the Daytona 500 with the Whitcomb Racing team back in the day. He said, you know, what I expect is a lot of these drivers, these cars all run in the same speed. These cars and trucks all run the same speed at this racetrack. What you're going to see is a lot of drivers getting right up to that left rear quarter panel, taking some air off the spoiler, moving them up the racetrack a little bit. What we saw right there with Austin Green on Williams Sawalich was exactly how Joe Dan Bailey said that was going to play out. Is now we see a battle between Patrick Staropoli and Laney Bice. This is the battle for 7th and 8th.
Pretty much got 2 cars, make that 4 cars, 2 rows deep battling for position. This all for 7th on back. That's Bice in the pink numeral 2, Staropoli in a 25, Timmy Hill up the outside as they lap around Takuma Koga in turn 1. And rounding out that 4-car battle, Isaac Kitzmiller that takes you through the top 10.
White knuckle moment right there for Timmy Hill. He did not want to stack it up 3 wide going down into that 2-lane wide turn 1, but wisely kind of gave Patrick a little racing room right there. And you know, we have seen these drivers, particularly up at the front of the field, kind of weaving their way through some of the traffic. But now that we've got some laps under our belts here, I think we have settled into a rhythm. And the lap cars are doing, I think, exactly what everybody at the front of the field would like for them to do. Pick a lane, stay in that lane. We want you to be predictable. If we catch you in turn 1 and you're on the bottom, well, the next time we catch you in turn 3, we also want you to be on the bottom. We want you to be predictable. These lap cars trying their best to give these leaders some racing room.
The bad news is Brent Cruz is already lapped up into the top 10. He just put Timmy Hill a lap down as we check in on Spencer Gallagher in the Sigma Performance number 24 and his return to ARCA Menards Series competition. But Cruz now about 20 laps away from what we expect to be our scheduled race break, continuing to lap his way up into the top 5. As you see Austin Green now looking to the inside of Gallagher, who also had some misfortune in practice yesterday. That team was able to get the car back together as we got a caution on the racetrack. And it's turn number 1 and 2.
Wow, that is a heavy hit for Timmy Hill. We just saw him a couple of moments ago on screen, and it looks like he has made some significant contact with the outside wall. And Timmy climbing out of that automobile. Good to see him climbing out, but that looks to be a heavy, heavy hit. I think he stumbled a little bit just on the steepness of the banking right there, but he is going to lean. Oh, look at him catching his breath right there. Definitely a heavy impact for Timmy Hill in the 56. Puts us under the caution for the second time here today. Let's see if we can take a look at what happened to the 56 car down into turn 1.
Timmy had just gone a lap down, and wow, I'm not sure if that was a right front tire going down, which we did see that in the morning practice session with London McKenzie's car, but that car shot straight up to the outside wall after he had already committed to try to enter turn 1 on the bottom.
And he put the window net down really quickly, but boy, he definitely needs to catch his breath after that one. While we are under caution for the second time, we'll step away for a quick break. When we come back, we'll reset the field, get set to race to midway point here at Rockingham. Stay with us. Working the second caution flag of the day after Timmy Hill getting into the wall down in turns 1 and 2. There is the safety crew trying to retrieve the 56 car off the top of the banking here at Rockingham Speedway. Let's take another look at this, Eric, and see if we can find out exactly what happened. And I'm with you. I think we might have had a right front tire go down and up into the wall. Not much he was going to be able to do there, just a passenger at that point.
When you consider the timing of when that tire went down, it was only about a lap and a half ago that our race leader, Brent Cruz, went around Timmy Hill to put him 1 lap off the leaders. But the good news is, even with that very hard and flush shot on the right side, and we saw Timmy kind of walking gingerly up the very steeply banked turns 1 and 2. He did climb out of that car under his own power, but Charlie, being that is one of the family-owned entities and operations, I'm sure that the impact hurt a lot, but the effects of that race car is going to sting a bit for that team as well.
Looks like we're going to be under caution here for a while. Do have some fluid on the racetrack we're going to have to tend to once we do get that car removed. But, you know, he is here racing for the ARCA East Championship because, you know, he said, you know, we have been running trucks for so long and it's gotten to the point where it's just not as fun as it once was. We want to come race at the front of the field, compete for a championship. He had a good, solid top 10 finish in the season opener down at 5 Flags. He was likely on pace for another similar type run here at Rockingham, and just did not end the way he was looking for it to end here. But Timmy Hill, unfortunately, going to be a DNF after a hard wreck down in turn 1, puts us under caution for the second time today. And you know, that's not the only time we have seen that type of incident today. We had another big crash right there at the end of practice with London McKenzie over on the other end of the racetrack coming out of turn 4. And this guy, Spencer Gallagher, had a similar incident coming off of turn 2 yesterday. Spencer actually in the backup number 24 car in his return to the ARCA Menards Series platform. And I know that wasn't the way he wanted his weekend to go. That 24, the primary car, rocket ship fast here yesterday.
And, I mean, we haven't seen Spencer since he made the decision in 2018 when GMS was still in full-blown operation at that time that he was going to take a step back, take a more managerial role. First national start for Spencer since 2018. He's been racing a little bit back home, but happy to see Spencer back at the racetrack, and sounds like we'll have more starts with him. Still under caution here for the ARCA East Series at Rockingham. We will be back right after this.
Still finishing up cleanup operations over there in turn 2, where Timmy Hill's number 56 came to a stop after making some contact with the outside wall there in turns 1 and 2. A lot of speedy dry on the racetrack. They don't call this the Sand Hills for nothing, apparently.
Yeah, unfortunately, we had to put that to work after Hill found the outside retaining wall, and we mentioned how hard that hit was. It obviously disrupted a lot underneath the hood of that race car and left a trail pretty much coming down the 22-degree banking in turns 1 and 2, but the track crew's been doing a great job to get things situated as we have now 51 laps in the books. Again, we're expecting our race break on or around lap 63, around the halfway point of this 125-lap race, but the dominant car by far up to this point has been Brent Cruz, but this caution will allow the rest of the field to get a chance to get maybe a short dash up against that 81 car before the one and only chance to make some adjustments if needed.
Talking about getting some adjustments, there was LeVar Scott coming off of pit road. Some adjustments made to that car, and of course LeVar, unfortunately, wrong place, wrong time there on lap, what was that, lap 2, when Jake Finch got sideways in front of him. And right now, everybody trying to keep this guy in sight. Brent Cruz in that number 81 car has been just absolutely dominant. Had opened up a 6+ second advantage prior to that caution flag. As you know, it has been something that I didn't ever think was going to happen to this point. You know, NASCAR officially back at Rockingham Speedway, and look at this crowd, Eric. You know, I was here yesterday for the Truck Series race, and I want to say it was maybe 85 or 90% full on a good Friday afternoon. A full house expected for the Xfinity race coming up later on this afternoon, and it's probably 80% full for ARCA East racing. What a crowd here today.
And I mean, just watching the fans continue to walk up the hill that leads over towards turn number 4, which is one of the main entry points of the facility. Everyone has a smile on their face. As we touched on at the top of the show, the weather could not be more perfect. It is so so enlightening to see this place come alive with not only race cars, but with a heavy fan presence to support it. And Charlie, the good news for me is that once we're done up here, I get to go hang out for a little bit and watch that Xfinity race. You still got some work to do on the mic.
I have the pleasure of being the PA announcer for the Xfinity race later on this afternoon. And, as a young kid, I could remember watching my uncle's race team running the cup races here with, Darrell Waltrip and Bobby Allison. And, it was from my home in Toledo, Ohio, this might as well have been 1,000 miles away. I never thought in a million years I would ever have a chance to go to Rockingham Speedway, much less broadcast a race or just as well be the PA announcer. But what a thrill to be here. What a great crowd. What a great field of race cars we have had in all three divisions. Tyler Ankrum picking up the win yesterday in the truck race. And we're going to find out if anybody can keep Brent Cruz out of victory lane. As look at that. That guy has got, I'm feeling a little hungry all of a sudden.
Yeah, now the key thing is to not have any trouble getting back to your seat. Otherwise, that's going to be on the not top 10 list for the end.
We don't want that. 1 to go. Signal given at the stripe. We're going to go racing, and this is going to be interesting because we just came off a long green flag run. We're going to have kind of a 10 or 12 lap sprint here to the midway point, the break here at or around lap 63. So now that Austin Green has kind of worked his way through traffic, can he keep Brent Cruz in sight?
And it's the first time Cruz is not going to be starting alongside of his teammate William Sawalich. So Austin Green may be fully intent on getting right on the right side door of that 81 car going to turn 1 if he wants to take control of this race before the upcoming race break.
First time we've seen Tyler Reif up in the outside groove as well. He has restarted third on both of the previous restart attempts. We'll see if that 23 car maybe comes to life now that it is not down on the inside lane. Coming back to green as we complete lap 54. So 9 laps to the midway point and the scheduled break at lap 63. Coming to the restart line. Again, the second line on the racetrack is the restart line. And here we go. Let's see what happens down into 1. Cruz with the jump. Can Green keep him in sight?
Boy, those JGR cars on the bottom, they were coordinated to be in lockstep formation in the restart line, and they were able to take over control of 1 and 2 in this race again, kicking Austin Green back to third. Battle for fourth starting to incentivize. We got a caution. Debris on the front straightaway will slow this field fresh off the one attempt to get us back going.
Well, we'll line them up and try it again. So we still have some debris, maybe some remnants of that incident down in turns 1 and 2 on the racetrack. So this will put us under caution for the third time today, and you could not have described it any better. Those two cars, the 81 and the 18, absolute lockstep on that restart.
Looked like a restart like what we may see at Talladega next week for the National Series, where they were just ready to go, coordinate with one another, make a little bit of a nudge and a push from Sawalich to Cruz to clear him well out in front of the 28 to turn 1. And once the door was open, Sawalich just walked right on through it. So those two Joe Gibbs Racing entries are going to find themselves in control of this race, as that is certainly a worthy enough piece of debris on the front straightaway.
We do not need anybody running that bumper bar over at speed, but this is a very good break for Spencer Gallagher in the 24 car. That quick caution gets him the free pass to rejoin the tail end of the lead lap. So that will put Spencer, who is in 10th position, back on the lead lap and give us 10 cars on the lead lap. And there is Spencer as he tries to tag onto the tail end of the field. We will line him up in maybe not a 10-lap dash to the finish, but maybe a 7 or 8-lap dash to the midway point, and the 5-minute break coming up at lap 63.
And many of the drivers and teams are going to have a chance to maybe use this as a dress rehearsal should this race come down to a late race sprint or even a green-white checker to settle this one. This is going to be a pretty good reminiscent or sim of that type of circumstance, and we'll see how aggressive some of the drivers at the front are going to be willing to be. As you said, Charlie, with Gallagher getting that free pass, it'll be 10 cars on the lead lap. The driver hoping for that quick race break may be Cole Raz. He's the next car in line currently to receive the free pass should we see another yellow, so he's going to be trying to hold on to that spot, but it'll be another chance to see what Cruz has up his sleeve. And Charlie, you alluded to some of the differences in the rules with the choose option not being available for these teams. The only option is for the leader to pick inside or outside. Restarts are another thing we talk about with these ARCA Menards Series races as well.
There is a restart zone here because the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series are racing, and we're driving into that restart zone right now. Those two lines on the racetrack, that goes out the window for ARCA Menards Series East racing here at Rockingham. The only line we need to pay attention to, and as a matter of fact, I have it wrong, it is the first line, the top line on the racetrack is actually the restart line. Once we get to that line, the leader has to be the first car to that line. We saw that a couple of times last year, and it doesn't matter if it's an inch, a foot, or 10 feet. If the driver scored in second, beats the leader to that line, they're going to get a pass-through penalty. So that could come into play later on today, but definitely one of the major differences between the ARCA platform and the National Series.
And you touched on one of the reasons why. It's a uniform rule that's set across the board because a lot of the tracks in which this series in particular visits, they don't have a zone to go off of with some of the companion events that happen at those racetracks. So it's one of the elements to keep some continuity across the rules in the series all year long, and it's something that many drivers, including the likes of, say, William Sawalich, who what he's been racing all year long on the Xfinity side, it's a different set of rules, and the hope is that the team and the spotter are constantly reminding some of these drivers of the nuances that it is to race on the ARCA side of the national motorsports landscape, and that's one of the things we'll keep an eye on.
And it's tough because those spotters also get used to working those National Series races, and that's why it's important to come to the driver's meeting every morning, right? We're going to get the one to go this time around, doubling them up for another attempt to get us to lap 63 and our 5-minute break coming up. So we should have maybe 4 laps to go to that lap 63 mark. And again, no surprise, Cruz electing the bottom lane. We did see Sawalich retake second, so he will move to the front row for this restart. Austin Green back in the second row. And how about this name for the first time today? Eloy Falcon in the number 10. I was just about to mention him on that last restart. He had made a tremendous move down the backstretch. Young Eloy Falcon in the 10 car looking pretty stout here as we close in on the midway point. All right, we're going to come back to green. 4 laps to go to the midway point. Eric, we talked about that long green flag run. That's all out the window. It is a 4-lap helmet dash to the midway point here. And can William Sawalich keep Brent Cruz in sight coming back to that restart line? Green flag in the air. Sawalich keeping him even down into turn 1. Let's see what happens. Sawalich going to try to use the momentum of the top lane, but again, that 81 car, that grip on the bottom side, just too good. Cruz going to put the nose out front down the backstretch.
They played nice on the last restart, but Sawalich is going to keep that car up top. Cruz with a great launch in the middle, off of turn number 4. Cruz holds on to the lead. Sawalich second, Green third. And it is Eloy Falcon up into 4th spot. Tyler Reif gets tagged. Up the track he goes and into the wall for Tyler Reif in turn 1.
He and Laney Bice got together. Bice going to keep digging, but Tyler Reif bouncing off the outside wall, and there is damage to the right side of that car. Caution flag going to come out. I did not have that on my bingo card on that restart. Wow.
Eloy Falcon made a great move to cement the 4th spot after restarting outside of row number 2 on the restart. Behind them, Tyler Reif was trying to settle back in line, lost a couple of positions, and then got a little bit of a brush on the left rear quarter panel going off into the high-speed entrance to turn 1, and he tried and tried and tried to keep it off the wall, but ran out of real estate.
Let's take another look at what happened. Keep an eye on the 23 car to the top side of the racetrack, and Laney just drifted up the racetrack a little bit, and that lane already occupied by Tyler Reif. And we talked about Tyler having that terrific run at Phoenix. He was maybe 2 laps away from another victory. This is just the type of luck that Sigma Performance Racing team has had so far here in 2025.
And as we get a look at Laney Bice's car, we'll try to check the right front fender as they come around. But, you know, Charlie, that's kind of been the luck that Tyler has just had this year as well. And that's some pretty significant damage to the front end of that 2 car of Laney Bice in her ARCA Menards Series East debut. And that's indicative of the contact that kicked off that crash. But Tyler's most recent contest was a Cars Tour Pro Lane model event down in Georgia, ironically Laney Bice's home state. And he was running so well there when the transmission came undone on that race car and put him out of the race. He just cannot seem to get out from under this black cloud. And this Sigma Performance team has really been put through the ringer over the last couple days. But that car's still rolling. If they can get it repaired, he may have a chance in the second half, as this caution will also serve as our halfway yellow and our race break.
So that will give both of these drivers involved in this incident, Tyler Reif and Laney Bice, an opportunity to get these cars repaired. Let's take one more look at it right there. And yeah, Laney definitely just drifted up the racetrack a little bit and got into the left rear quarter panel. I think Laney may have been trying to avoid Andy Jankowiak, who having a very strong run, but I think Andy has been rolling out of the corners a little bit to get a little more momentum off the corners, and Laney didn't expect that, and she tried to make the move around, and unfortunately that lane already occupied by Tyler Reif, and boy, that could have been way worse. If that's all the damage that the 23 comes out, he really could have been in a real tough spot right there. But Tyler Reif, I think they're going to be able to keep that car in competition, and depending on how much they're able to repair it, should be a contender for a top 10 yet here this afternoon.
You said that wreck could have been way worse. I mean, Patrick Staropoli, Cole Raz, Isaac Kitzmiller, all in that knot right off that yellow as soon as the 23 car got tagged up towards the top of the racetrack. So we are under our fourth caution of the race, also going to serve as our halfway break. We'll be back for the second half of the ARCA Rockingham 125.
Break time here at Rockingham Speedway. The teams have 5 minutes to change tires, add fuel, make adjustments. You have to wonder what adjustments Brent Cruz is asking for back there. Maybe just a bottle of water at this point, right?
Yeah, I mean, maybe just take the chance to take a deep breath and, focus forward, because that car has been pretty much on a rail. And, Charlie, I'm curious, as ironically his teammate and the car that's been his closest pursuer on average since this race got underway, William Sawalich, there seems to have been a lot of coordination between those two since this race has started. I'm curious how long that may roll. I mean, Cruz has gotten a little bit of help when Sawalich restarted behind him. There may have been some additional space when he started next to him. I wonder if that trend's going to continue all the way down to the latter stages of this race, or if that pressure is going to start to be amped up a little bit by the Xfinity Series rookie in what is a return to a place that Sawalich calls home. Two-time champion of this series, looking for a win here on a monumental weekend at the Rock. He's got one car to beat right now, and it's his teammate.
I think we get a restart at, say, lap 119. There won't be anywhere near as much room given as there was at lap 19 earlier today. But in any case, everybody trying to keep Brent Cruz in sight. And there you see the repair efforts on the front nose of Lady Bice in the number 2. She, of course, involved in that incident there with Tyler Reif, and they're going to put the right front tire back on that. And unfortunately for her, and I don't think they're going to get that patched up back 100%, and unfortunately for her, probably not going to help her advance towards a top 5 finish. You need that right front fender to be fully intact at a place like Rockingham.
This track may measure just under 1 mile, but it is by no means a short track by any stretch of the imagination. Saw some people debating that across the social media platforms. This is not a short track. An aero matters a lot. Our very own Jacqueline Drake is down there kind of saying that they are doing a lot of work on that car as well. The Reif team with Sigma Performance, they're trying to repair the right side after he got up in the wall with the contact with Laney Bice. Also handed him a bottle of water. And Sawalich drinking a lot of water on what is a really warm day here. I mean, we're talking mid-80s here in Rockingham. Inside the race car, especially right now, with everything being warm and hot, you're not getting the airflow of the caution laps right now. Some of these drivers baking on that backstretch, hoping this break could hurry on up.
That's why I would have been in favor of a nice, clean, white driver's uniform if I was a driver. It helps keep you cool. But
in a clean white car.
That's right. That's right. So Sawalich actually tried to keep the engine compartment cool as well. You see those big DeWalt blowers trying to keep the engine compartment cool. But we are closing in on the end of this 5-minute break, so we'll reassemble the field and get set to go back racing. Lap 63 officially in the books, so we are just past the official halfway point. Still 62 laps yet to go. And there is a guy that I think still has something to say about who's going to go to victory lane here today. That 28 car, Austin Green, might not have been the flat-out fastest race car, but he had been able to work his way into second at one point. And, we get a late race restart. Anything could happen. Austin Green still has a good shot, maybe stealing one here from Brent Cruz.
And when you think about this race team, which the Pinnacle Racing Group has really grown into a top-running team across whatever discipline of motorsports they enter in a relatively quick time. Now, granted, Mark Webb and his group of organizers, along with the tutelage of Shane Huffman, former NASCAR Xfinity Series driver, an absolute stalwart in the late model landscape of motorsports, they've really gotten themselves a tremendous group of people. And we've seen a lot of different drivers come out out and prove their talent. You mentioned Connor Zilic en route to what was almost an East Series championship before he went off to the Xfinity Series. Learned a lot with this race team. Austin Green getting a chance. Brendan Queen is in a rookie campaign. Off the win at Daytona on the national side of the runner-up at Phoenix. And Connor Mozak had a race-winning car potentially at 5 Flags before the tire went down in some contact. Austin Green's got himself with a good group, and I think the tutelage and direction of that team could also be a big incentive that keeps him in contention for this race, even though the JGR cars have been the class of the field so far.
I don't think you will find anybody in a garage area full of ultra competitive people. You won't find any more competitive than Shane Huffman.
Oh, yeah.
He loves winning races, and you know, he kind of gets a little salty when he doesn't win races, which is the sign of a true contender right there. But there you see the damage on the right front corner of Laney Bice's car. Actually got it a little bit cleaner than I thought they were going to be able to right there, but still, I don't think that's going to be aerodynamically sound like she needs it to, but hey, stranger things to happen. Laney's still currently scored in the 6th position. Let's recap the front of the field here as we get set to go back racing. Brent Cruz, William Sawalich, your top 2, Austin Green in 3rd. How about that run by Eloy Falcon in 4th, Andy Jankowiak in 5th, Laney Bice, Patrick Staropoli, Isaac Kitzmiller, Tyler Reif, and Spencer Gallagher, your top 10.
Cole Raz was able to get the free pass on this caution, so 11 cars back on the lead lap. Andrew Patterson, LeVar Scott both 1 lap down. Scott, who was involved in the opening wreck that happened with Jake Finch to kick off this race, sustained some damage there, still on a bit of a comeback trail. The same could be said for his teammate Laney Bice, who rejoins the field. And there's a look at Patrick Staropoli, and Patrick is someone who I had a chance to talk to during the week, and you know, I mentioned it earlier in the first half of this race, but you know, Patrick is someone who, as we're a lap away for the restart, his racing career appeared to be on a tremendous trajectory to top-tier success, but he had a decision to make between his profession and his driving duties. He was given the advice, racing will be here for you. He's gone on to be an incredible doctor in the ophthalmology field, now back with some partners to be able to run some of these ARCA races, and he's done a tremendous job. Even got a top 20 in his Xfinity Series debut at Martinsville about a month ago, now trying to get a good result here at the Rock.
Of course, Patrick, a former West Series winner out at the now closed Irwindale Speedway back in 2014. So just a little bit of a pause in his racing career, and I think we will see him up near the front. There is Tyler Reif. We got a quick look at him, and that car looked to be pretty well back to 100% after that scuff with the wall. So we'll see if he's able to race his way back through the field and get up to the front as we are coming back to green. 64 laps in the book, so 61. My basic math skills are correct. Yet to go, so we will come to green with 60 laps to go as we get the green flag, and lots of racing yet to come, and everybody going to try to keep Brent Cruz in their sights as we get back to the restart line. And here comes William Sawalich. Sawalich with the launch. Can he take that 18 car to the front of the field down into turn 1?
Gives a little bit of room there as they approach turn 1. This is what we've seen the last few restarts. These two started alongside, but Sawalich with a great drive off turn 2. It's got the edge by a half a car length as they go to 3.
Ooh, Cruz driving that car in ultra deep into 3 and 4, but look at Sawalich running the outside lane. He is going to lead across the stripe to complete lap 66. First time we've seen anybody other than Brent Cruz lead a lap here at Rockingham.
Cruz drove that car down into turn number 1 to take the lead back as he gets around Sawalich, and there's some smoke coming from Tyler Reif's car. It appears to be from the right rear. Evidently, not all of the damage has been able to be repaired on that last stop. We'll see if that car can make it as he continues to smoke down the front stretch.
And Reif going to bring that car down inside the white line there down on the apron of the racetrack. You do not want to run around Rockingham Speedway at speeds approaching 160 miles an hour with a tire rub. He wisely will bring that car to Tom Ackerman and the team down on the backstretch pit road. But in any case, here is the battle for the lead. Not much of a battle at the moment. Brent Cruz setting sail, and William Sawalich doing a nice job at least keeping him in sight. 0.4 of a second the difference here as we see this battle for position. Patrick Staropoli working his way up into the top 5.
Patrick Staropoli, Eddie Jankowiak, Isaac Kitzmiller in the 79. The 3 cars that are pretty much knotted together for the final spot in the top 5 as things stand. Meanwhile, we've got a new runner-up in the 3rd, just getting around a car in which he said was perfect, did that of Austin Green, who held 3rd. Eloy Falcon up to a podium spot as Jankowiak continues to wrestle the car in turns 1 and 2.
And it took a while for that 73 car to come to where Andy J liked it that first half of the race. And it could just be that the air pressures haven't come up to where he expects them and needs them to be. But that 73 car looking a little darty right now as we check in on this battle. 3rd and 4th on the racetrack. And how about young Eloy Falcon? This youngster has been around this Rev Racing team for the last couple of years, coming to the racetrack, helping any way that he can. He's always had a smile on his face, always done anything they've asked him to do. Right now, they're asking him to take this car to the front, and Eloy Falcon doing just that, 3rd position on this restart.
Down the front stretch, we got Patterson, who may be blowing up on the approach to turn number 1. Race stays green as we watch this battle down the back straightaway. Checked in with Jacqueline Drake, who got to catch up with Stephen Dawson, the crew chief for Austin Green. He said that Austin said the car's perfect, leave it the way it is. As you see Falcon getting loose off turn 4, down to the inside for 3rd comes Green as we catch Patterson making his way back to the pits. Race stays under green flag conditions.
And that car jumped out from underneath Eloy Falcon right there, a little wiggly in turns 3 and 4. That opened the door for Austin Green to retake 3rd position. And it looks like it's going to be a short day for Andrew Patterson, his 2nd consecutive tough race. He was involved in an incident in practice, wasn't even able to take the green at Five Flag Speedway back in March. So not the way he wanted his first actual race to end here in 2025. There's a battle for 8th and a couple of cars that looking pretty sporty after getting the free pass to rejoin the tail end of the lead lap.
Spencer Gallagher in the 24, Cole Raz in the 76, both racing each other quite hard for a spot up here in the top 10. Raz with a good drive off 4, Gallagher alongside, and this battle will continue to turn 1 where things could tighten up. And look at Gallagher giving Raz a good bit of room going in the corner, a lot of respect being shown between these two as this fight will continue on.
A couple of drivers at the opposite ends of the experience spectrum right here. Cole Raz, a youngster making his way through the super late model ranks on the West Coast, making the transition into full-bodied stock car racing here in the ARCA Menards Series platform. Spencer Gallagher, despite having taken several years off, has hundreds of starts across not only the ARCA Menards Series platform, but the NASCAR Craftsman Trucks and the NASCAR Xfinity Series as well. So Gallagher wisely giving Cole Raz some extra racing room down there in turn 1. Don't need to be fighting for the bottom of the racetrack still with over 50 laps yet to go here in the Rockingham ARCA 125. And this guy, Eric, continuing to stretch out that advantage now, 2.7 seconds the lead over William Sawalich in 2nd.
Got a brief challenge from the teammate off the restart, and now is set sail. Working his way up to the back, and whoop, got checked up there a little bit behind Zachary Tinkle. Tinkle now will yield the top lane to Cruz as they enter turn number 3. This may impact that margin that you just mentioned, Charlie, that he was able to build up as we see Andrew Patterson out of the car, and just an abysmal start to his 2025 East Series campaign for the small operation. Also running a part-time schedule in 2025, and he was one of the many teams who made it a point to circle the Rock as one of the stops he wanted to make. The power plant, though, just could not make it the distance.
A very high RPM here, and a sustained high RPM here at Rockingham, and some of these engines just not able to hold on to that sustained RPM limit as we see this battle. Lainey Bice working her way back through the field. She's just worked her way past Spencer Gallagher to retake the 9th position. So despite that damage to the nose of the number 2 car, Lainey Bice still looking pretty sporty. Our Bonnie Rookie Spotlight driver working her way back through the top 10.
As they push Patterson's car off, a great rebound for Bice. And even though you mentioned, Charlie, they may not get that car back to driving the way that it was, but the lapse time, the track time, the track experience so important for Lainey, as her teammate LeVar Scott, who continues to run about a lap off the leaders, is now under fire from Cole Raz, who holds the 8th position. Cole trying to get up to and maybe past Isaac Kitzmiller, is a little bit further up the road in what would be the battle for 7th.
And LeVar has similar damage to the nose of the number 6 car. He was involved in the incident on lap 2 that put Jake Finch out of the race. very early on, as we see the number 81, Brent Cruz, continuing to, you know, I always like to make the comparison. If this was Burger King, he would love it. He is having it his way at the front of the field here today, and he has driven off now 3.2 seconds the advantage over William Sawalich in second, Austin Green, Eloy Falcon, and now Patrick Staropoli rounding out our top 5 as we are now within the final 50 laps of the Rockingham ARCA 125. 82 laps now in the books, 43 yet to go.
Here's Jan Kowiak in the 73 trying to fend off Isaac Kitzmiller in the 79. Battle going on for 6th. I was talking to Andy Jankowiak during the week, and he mentioned some of the partnerships he was able to bring on. Florida Safety System's been a long-time supporter for him. The plan was to hopefully have Jody, who's with that organization here at the Speedway, but he's back home recovering, watching along with all of you from home. So he wishes them all the best. He's doing a great job up in the top 10 as things stand. As we see Tyler Wright returning to the pit area, just not able to beat out the bodywork enough after that contact in the turn 1 wall. And the bad luck for Tyler Reif continues. And Charlie, there's not a lot of urgency to get out to that race car right now.
And you know, the damage to that car is in one of the most critical areas. That right rear fender needs to be solid. It needs to be in place. You don't have that you don't have any side force in this car, and you are so dependent on side force, and that's where this car has excelled all weekend long. Through the center of the corner and off of the corner, when you want to get on the throttle, you need every bit of those aerodynamics to help keep you planted on the racetrack. And that 23 car just doesn't have that right now.
Yeah, this 81, especially on a restart or a lap off a restart, just appears to have the perfect amount of yaw going off into the corner to not lose control as this battle for 4th begins to start to ratchet up. And you know, we've talked a little bit about Eloy Falcon and his successes. A lot of them have come from south of the border. 2021 NASCAR Mexico Truck Series champion, 2024 NASCAR Mexico Challenge champion. He's also got a win in the NASCAR Mexico Series this year. And he's been racing a late model stock car a few times for this Rev Racing team in 2025. And Charlie, this is a hard racetrack to figure out on your first try, and Eloy is doing a tremendous job carrying the banner for Rev Racing right now in 4th.
There are a lot of drivers who have been here multiple times that haven't been able to figure it out, as well as Eloy Falcon has his first attempt. As we check in at the front of the field, there is Brent Cruz. 4.2 seconds the advantage, so hasn't cost him too much, that little checkup that he had to make there a few moments ago. He has kicked it back into cruise control and has driven away from this guy, William Sawalich, currently in second. 2-time ARCA Menards Series East champion. He's going to run the Xfinity Series race later today, and you have to think what he's learning today going to help him once we go Xfinity racing later on.
Going to roll off 5th for that Xfinity race. We check in on Austin Green, who currently runs in the 3rd position. He told his crew chief he felt like the car was perfect. Need to see a little bit more to be able to try to reel in the 2 ahead of him. But a great Pinnacle Racing Group debut for Austin Green, who's also slated to come down for the Xfinity race later on. We check in with 4th place runner in Eloy Falcon.
Eloy Falcon having a terrific ARCA Menards East debut. As you talked about all the success he has had down below the border in his native Mexico, he is looking to finish in the top 5 here in his ARCA Menards East debut. And what an impressive performance in the 3rd Rev Racing entry. And there's Patrick Staropoli up in the top 5, sitting in the 5th position in that number 25 car.
His schedule continues to pick up. He's back with this team at Talladega. Going to start at Kansas, still on the docket. Many truck races with Cook Racing Technologies. Patrick Staropoli rounding out the top 5 right now. What's been a very big week for Venerini Motorsports. Here's another partner story for Andy Jankowiak. He won a Southern Modified event 1 year ago. The person who sang the national anthem, his name was Skylar Whitfield. Struck up a friendship with him. Skylar was hosting a concert in the area last night. They put a deal together to slap Skylar's name on the car. He comped everybody to the show who could make it out last night. Skylar now here with the race team on the pit box, helping support Andy Jankowiak to what he hopes to be a top 10 effort as he continues to try to work his way further forward.
Skylar, a guy that does the anthem at a lot of the World Series races that you see live here on Flow as well. Good to see Skylar on board with that number 73 team. There's Cole Raz in the number 76. You know, you talked about all those 6th place finishes that he had. Cole had a terrific run down at Five Flags Speedway to start the season, coming home in the top 2. Wasn't unfortunately the winner, but had a great run down there at Five Flags Speedway, and looking to continue his streak of top 10 finishes here today. Of course, this is the AM Racing team. Car owner Kevin Sawinski, longtime car owner and crew chief here overseeing the effort for Cole Raz in the 76.
Just behind the Rev Racing number 2 of Lainey Bice. And Charlie, we were talking beforehand and having some conversations with her Cars Tour car owner Lee Polium. He mentioned the group that Lainey has surrounded herself with, from friends and family, a bit of an entourage, which sometimes could be a bit of a distraction for some drivers. But for Lee and Lainey, he said it is the most pleasant group to have at the racetrack. They're incredibly supportive, and Lainey herself is always focusing forward on the task at hand. And even after the bit of a blemish that happened in turn 1 a few laps ago with Tyler Reif, she continues to battle to the inside of Cole Raz. Doesn't appear to be weighing on her mind at all. She is still trying to pick up spots here late in the going.
She is one of the best drivers at networking in the garage area that I have ever seen. Young Lainey Bice building that network. There is Spencer Gallagher in the 24, the backup car after a hard incident in the very final moments of practice here yesterday. Had a tire go down right here on the racetrack, and he pounded the outside wall. A lot of flame out of that primary number 24 car, but pulling the backup car off the truck, and Spencer having a pretty solid return to racing here, rounding out the top 10 with 29 laps to go. And Joe Ferre, the team owner, he's had a rough start to the season as well. They had a car involved in a heavy incident here yesterday. Tyler Reif getting up into the wall early in this race, and of course we talked about that incident at Phoenix, so close to victory, and they ended up taking home a crashed race car as a result. But boy, Spencer Gallagher, would be nice for him to come out of here with a top 10 in his return to racing. First time in the cockpit since 2018 for Spencer, currently sitting in 10th. And there is Brent Cruz, the advantage now a full 5 seconds over William Sawalich in second.
And Cruz, we kind of touched on it earlier in our broadcast, but his ARCA Menards Series success came quick, but it came on a certain type of racetrack. He's someone who has a very versatile background, actually started in karting. Ironically, there's a link back to some of the news that broke with the Venerini Motorsports team, who Brent went to victory lane for in his first 2 ARCA starts, but started in karting back in the day. And he transitioned quickly to learning how to race on dirt. In fact, even this year, he kicked off the season with a win at the Tulsa Shootout on dirt. That win on pavement, though, finally getting the monkey off his back, if you will, at Phoenix, that may be what opens up the floodgates for this young man. He is about 25 laps away from winning at one of the most challenging, just about 1 mile ovals you could find in this country, and he's doing so in dominant fashion. But the battle for 5th is still to be contested, as Austin Green is off the pace on the front straightaway. The Pinnacle Racing Group number 28 car that was running in 3rd has just rolled by slowly. This is about to be a battle for 4th as Austin Green is coming to the pit lane.
Boy, we did not see that coming as well. Austin Green now onto pit road, and there he is. He's going to go a lap down to our leader, Brent Cruz, blasting past him down the backstretch. So a great run gone awry all of a sudden for Austin Green and the Pinnacle Racing Group. And that car sounded off pace as it came down off of turn 4 past our broadcast location, and one of the crew members jumping into the cockpit. That tells me could be an ignition issue. The ignition box located right there on the passenger side of the dashboard, and they're going to go to the battery compartment. So electrical issues or ignition issues on the 28 car.
With just 25 laps to go, Austin Green from a podium spot to the pit lane here, as that team tries to diagnose the issue and see if they can get Austin back out. But the laps are continuing to click by under green flag conditions. Cruz the leader, Sawalich second, now Eloy Falcon up to 3rd, Patrick Staropoli in 4th, Isaac Kitzmiller your top 5.
And we didn't see Isaac as we walked through the field there, because he made a pass for position as we were kind of going through the field there. But Isaac having a great run in that number 79 car, the CR7 Motorsports entry. Cody Rohrbaugh, the team owner there. And of course, Isaac's dad, Jason Kitzmiller, said, Isaac's kind of coming along at a rapid rate in his development as a driver. We want to see him not only compete for an ARCA Menards East Championship, we want to build a team for him that is going to allow him to compete for an ARCA Menards Series Championship when he is old enough to do so. So Jason Kitzmiller, Frank Kimmel, and that whole team said, you know what, we're going to run for the entire ARCA Menards Series season in 2025. Let's get this team ready so that when Isaac is ready, he's able to jump in and go right to the front. He's doing just that here today. Isaac Kitzmiller with an impressive run in the 5th position.
And the work continues on Austin Green's cars. We are inside 20 laps to go. Cruz out to a pretty substantial advantage. Best fight is starting to materialize, maybe for 4th, involving the aforementioned Kitzmiller and company. But Cruz continues to be the dominating car of this race. Leads 6.5 seconds the last time around. Charlie, I think the only 2 things of potential concern is we got a caution on the racetrack.
Ooh.
Trouble in turn 4. We got a car that has gone around and may have caught Spencer Gallagher on the way by. That is the number 9 of Donahue who has spun.
And indeed, damage to the nose, and I did see some damage to the right side of the 24 car. So Spencer Gallagher clipping Blaine Donahue. Blaine got sideways over there in turn 3. Looked like it was going to be a harmless spin, and then he started coming down the banking, and Spencer had already committed to going down onto the apron and just didn't have enough room to clear Blaine Donahue. And there's the damage to the number 9 car, but that does put us under caution yet again here at Rockingham.
Was just about to say the one thing that Brent Cruz did not want to see was the yellow, and here it comes.
You did it. You did it. You jinxed him.
Get a quick look here at the right side of Spencer Gallagher. Believe it or not, for as much damage that's on the nose of the 9 car of Donahue, Gallagher may have been able to get away with one here. There's Donahue already sideways entering our picture in 3 and 4. Look at the pack coming down on him right there.
Boy, Spencer, you know Spencer was saying, hold the brakes, hold the brakes, hold the brakes, hold the brakes. And the car just drifted down the racetrack, and Spencer, as you saw, had already committed to it and just made some slight contact with the right side of his car. A lot of damage resulting, though, there on the number 9. And, you know, Blaine Donahue had a really impressive debut performance last year up at Flat Rock Speedway, finished well up into the top 10. His dad, Patrick, oversees the efforts for the Big Machine vodka spiked coolers car that former ARCA champion Nick Sanchez drives in the Xfinity Series. They've had an impressive weekend so far here at Rockingham Speedway. This is kind of a downer moment, but Blaine Donahue is still a young driver with a big future ahead of him if he keeps getting these types of opportunities with Andy Hillenberg's team. And there is Spencer Gallagher down on pit road, and they are hard at work trying to repair the right side of that number 24 car.
And Charlie, you were talking about just, again, a bit of bad luck for the Sigma Performance team that has had success, has gone to victory lane before in the ARCA Menards Series on the regional side, but just really a rough weekend so far at Rockingham. Nevertheless, that incident down in turn 4 could have been much, much worse if Spencer Gallagher wasn't on his heels as much as he was in that moment to get drivers left and away from the number 9 of Donahue. And we talk about drivers and teams and certain individuals wearing dual hats. Blaine himself helps out on that 48 team, so he's going to have to shrug off this unfortunate event towards the end of this race and focus forward on maybe helping Nick Sanchez get a win later on this afternoon in that ARCA race to team up with his father, as you mentioned.
And I'll tell you what, that Xfinity race coming up, the front of that field loaded with former ARCA winners, former ARCA champions. It's going to be an exciting return. 7,700 plus days since the Xfinity Series raced here at Rockingham Speedway, and just what a thrill to be here at this racetrack. And you know, we've talked about that crowd, and we have a perfect vantage point of the crowd coming through the gates here in turn 4, coming up the hill and making their way into the grandstand. Just what a terrific crowd here at Rockingham Speedway, and you can't give enough credit to the track operators here, including somebody that we do a lot of business with throughout the course of the year, Bob Sargent and our friends over at Track Enterprises. Congratulations to them on an absolute home run, bringing NASCAR racing back here to Rockingham Speedway, as Blaine Donahue in the number 9 going to try to, we're close to the end, just 15 laps to go. He's going to go out there and bring this number 9 car home, but not the way he wanted to end his day here in the Rockingham 125.
So 15 laps to go. It'll be 14 when we come back around. And I think some of the questions we've been posing throughout the race about the teamwork amongst the JGR team cars, Brent Cruz, William Sawalich, I think it's about to be answered because it hasn't been put to a test of this magnitude just yet. Now, granted, Cruz has been quite committed with selecting the inside for these restarts. I expect him to do the same. But the proximity between his right side of his race car and William Sawalich's left side of his race car, I feel like it started to shrink as these restarts have gone on. And I think that may be what we are about to see one lap from now, with the win on the line and now in the sights of these two competitors and more.
let's go back to the end of the first half of this race. We had a restart with about a dozen laps to go. Caution. We had another restart with about 7 or 8 laps to go. Caution. We don't know that we need to see that type of activity here as we go to the checkered flag, but Eric, you know this, man, particularly your Cars Tour races. You get to the end of these races, the intensity level ratchets up, and I got to tell you, every restart we've had so far today, William Sawalich has been there, but he has been respectful. He has given some room. I think that goes out the window on this restart. Sawalich is going to give it everything he has. He wants to get that 18 car in front, take the line away, take the air away from Brent Cruz. We're going to see some wild racing on this restart. And keep an eye on those cars in that second row as well. Eloy Falcon and Patrick Staropoli. They're just waiting for these two to get a little overly racy to see if they can't get up and maybe steal a win away here. So coming to the green to complete lap 112, 13 laps to go here at Rockingham. Pace car down on pit road. Let's see how Sawalich handles this restart. Neck and neck down into turn 1. Sawalich going to try to roll the top side. Going to give him a little more room than I thought he did, but again, Cruz, that car just so strong on the bottom line. Cruz going to retake the lead down the backstretch.
Past couple of restarts, Sawalich has been able to hang with the right side of Brent Cruz's car off of turn 2. This time, no such luck. Clear to the lead and not quite gone, but he's got a good bit of breathing room. Brent Cruz back to the point. Sawalich second. Eloy Falcon your podium. Staropoli, Jankowiak your top 5.
Andy Jankowiak with a great restart. He jumps into the top 5. Isaac Kitzmiller back into the 6th position, but there is the guy. He has had this race in his control from the drop of the initial green. Brent Cruz stretched it out. There's the battle, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Patrick Staropoli with a terrific run in the 25 car, holding on to 4th. Andy J coming back from a brush with the wall yesterday that forced his crew to work late into the night. He is holding on to 5th, and look at these two. Austin Green, despite being a couple of laps down, he wants to show everybody just how strong that 28 car is.
Wants to prove that car has pace to maybe stay up towards the front of the field should those problems not have found him late in the going. This the battle for 3rd, about 4 cars strong off turn 2. Eloy Falcon in the 10, Patrick Staropoli in the 25, Jankowiak in the 73, all vying for a potential podium finish here with Cruz and Sawalich locking down the top 2 spots right now.
Boy, you talk about a dominant performance since we dropped the green flag. Brent Cruz has stretched out 2.1 seconds on William Sawalich. Sawalich with a comfortable advantage, about a 1.5 seconds in hand over Eloy Falcon, Patrick Staropoli, and Andy Jankowiak. This battle right here, the battle for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Falcon with just an impressive performance in his East Series debut at perhaps the toughest racetrack this series is going to go to all year long. And Falcon looking like a veteran here late in the going.
Young man's going to have to try to hold off another driver who, even though we haven't seen him all that much, is certainly a veteran in his own right. And Patrick Staropoli started to ramp up his on-track activity over the last few years, running some late model events down in Florida. He works in Texas, would commute to Florida to drive those race cars, and also got behind the wheel of a Tour Type Modified, now knocking on the door of a podium at Rockingham, but it's all going on well behind Brent Cruz, who continues to walk away from the field.
This car has been literally on cruise control, as you said, all race long, coming to complete lap 120. Next time around, Cruz within sight of the checkered flag as we got a battle going on now for 5th. Here comes Isaac Kitzmiller trying to retake that spot from Andy J.
The more that this race goes on, the faster the 79 car appears to be. And with his eyes and sights set on the East Series Championship in 2025, he's been off to a great start to the year so far. As Isaac, he'd like to add another top 5 to that stat column as he continues to hound the rear spoiler at Jankowiak to turn 1.
5 to go, 5 more times around for Brent Cruz, 5 more times around for Isaac Kitzmiller to try to find his way past Andy Jankowiak. That 79 car looking extremely strong through the center of the corner. But I'll tell you what, Andy Jankowiak, a lot of experience behind the wheel of that race car. This guy one of the best short track racers in the country, and to do it on the budget that he does it on, even more impressive. Andy J and this Class Motorsports team looking strong here at Rockingham as we check back into the front of the field. Brent Cruz coming to the 3 to go signal, this time by 122 laps now in the books. Just 3 more times around for the young man out of Davidson, North Carolina. You know, Racing Reference had him listed out of Tulsa, Oklahoma for his entire career. He finally reached out to us and said, you know, I'm from Davidson. I was born there and I've lived there my whole life. Can we get that updated? We said, yeah, absolutely. We'll get that fixed for you. But right now, Brent Cruz driving away from William Sawalich. A statement race for this young man. 2 laps to go for Brent Cruz.
Cruz is someone who's been watching the calendar very closely. He's been searching for the opportunity to be eligible to move up in his racing career. He's got a bunch of Truck Series races on the docket this season for Tricon Garage, but he wants a piece of hardware to go along with it. He's 1 lap away from grabbing a win at the Rock.
White flag up for Brent Cruz. He has no pressure from behind. Cleanly down into turns 1 and 2 and down the backstretch for the final time. 5.6 seconds ahead of William Sawalich. Cruz keeping that car painted to the white line. He's off at turn 4. Brent Cruz gonna pick up the win here at Rockingham. We wait for William Sawalich. Here comes Sawalich off at turn 4. Let's check on this battle deeper in the field. Here comes Isaac Kitzmiller. Not gonna do it. Andy J gonna come home 5th. Isaac Kitzmiller coming home in 6th. But what a statement performance by Brent Cruz. We joked with him at Phoenix. Wins at Springfield, wins at DuQuoin, wins at Phoenix. Now another win on the 1 mile track here at Rockingham.
I think the floodgates have officially opened as he's going to get a congratulatory acknowledgement from his teammate in this race, William Sawalich, as it is a Joe Gibbs Racing 1-2, final margin of victory in excess of 6 seconds. But Cruz is going to burn down the house. He's got no Xfinity race to worry about later on this afternoon. He can enjoy this one for the rest of the weekend. Brent Cruz celebrating his first ARCA Menards East Series win of his very young racing career.
Cruz already going to victory lane earlier this year at Phoenix Raceway. He's picked up a huge win for him at the Tulsa Shootout earlier in the year. And boy, he is coming a little close to that outside wall there, Eric. You don't want to give Matt Ross and those guys any extra work to do, but boy, a jubilant young man celebrating a big statement victory here in the Rockingham 125. Brent Cruz, dominant here today. I think he led every lap but one. Wow, what a day for Brent Cruz.
A little bit of salt in the wound for the rest of the field. They're trying to pull around to the backstretch pits where they're meant to be stationed. They got to drive by the celebration that Cruz just put on to this massive crowd that has come out to Rockingham. And the celebratory efforts could kick off here in just a few moments for this young man, as you said, out of Davidson, North Carolina, who is just scratching the surface of what his talents will be able to bring him in his career. And he put it on full display on what is a very challenging and tough racetrack to execute that type of performance your first time out.
We will get Brent down into the makeshift victory lane here at the start-finish line. Our Jacqueline Drake will be in position here in just a matter of moments. We'll grab a quick word with our winner and other finishers up in the top 3. And, you know, we didn't really expect it, but Eloy Falcon, what a just tremendous performance by the young man to come home 3rd here today.
Unbelievable effort. I would almost argue best in class with how strong those top 2 were. Pretty much locking down the 2 spots for most of the race. Of course, Austin Green got up there at some point, but a tremendous effort for Eloy Falcon. And this crowd that is assembled here, and sellout crowd here today, many still filing in, many still taking up the opportunity to partake in whatever exciting events that they have put on around this racetrack. But a lot of fans are getting introduced to Brent Cruz. Some maybe for the first time in person to be here at the Speedway. Some may be watching along from home for the first time. This is a name we're going to be hearing about a lot.
Appreciate everybody joining us at home live here on FloRacing, also on the NASCAR channel, streaming live on Tubi. Great to have you all with us on a historic weekend here at Rockingham Speedway. The first time NASCAR style racing has been here in over a dozen years, and I see our Jacqueline Drake moving down into position, so we'll head it trackside to hear from our winner.
And out of the car, he comes, the winner today at the Rockingham 125. The number 81 of Brent Cruz brings it home from flag to flag, fastest in practice. He got the pole award, and then a dominating performance. Brent, you're throwing the water everywhere. Man, what a day for you, soaking it in here in the history of Rockingham. But what was the key to all the success and how quick that 81 car was?
Yeah, the good Lord above keeping me safe for sure. Just want to thank you to all you amazing race fans for coming out here, having a sold out Rockingham Speedway is pretty cool, especially at a historic place like this. The work they've done in this place is amazing. All glory to God for keeping us safe out there. We had a super fast Mobil 1 Toyota Camry, so I just want to say a humongous thank you to the whole Joe Gibbs Racing crew. They did an amazing job all weekend. Coming to a place I've only ran a couple laps at in a truck to a dominant performance like this. These guys had it hooked up all weekend, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the year with these guys.
There's always the conversation of the tire wear here today, but that didn't seem to be a factor for you. You were as smooth as can be, but what was the key to that, and how were you able to do so with such a long run?
Yeah, it was really easy with that good of a race car. Made my life a lot easier. Made my job a lot easier. You know, just being able to turn smooth laps like that when your car's playing in the racetrack is a lot nicer. So a huge shout out to the whole JGR group. Had a new crew chief on board this week. Matt's over there with Williams. So he did an amazing job. The whole crew did great. So just want to say thank you to all you amazing race fans and everybody tuning in at home. I know my family's here, so grateful to get a win in front of them and my brothers at home.
Rockingham delivers once again, and this young star rises to the occasion. Your winner today, Brent Cruz.
I'll tell you what, he had it his way all day long. Brent Cruz leads every lap but one to pick up the win here at Rockingham. We're going to step away for a quick break. When we come back, we'll hear from other top finishers. Packed house here at Rockingham Speedway, just watching Brent Cruz picking up the win here in the Rockingham ARCA 125. Our Jacqueline Drake standing by with William Sawalich, who tried to keep Brent in sight. William coming home in second. Jacqueline?
GR teammates right here battled side by side, and the number 18 of William Sawalich, you were very close to getting that lead several times today, but what more did you need to overcome Brent Cruz and all the speed that he had?
Yeah, I mean, he definitely did a good job, especially in the long run, so props to him. Glad JGR could pick up a 1-2 finish. We had a good Starkey Toyota Camry. Not sure what I needed, but you know, I haven't been in an ARCA car in a little bit, but just super focused on the Xfinity race. Got 125 laps of practice, and can't wait. I think we're going to have a lot of speed there.
Well, you're going to have a lot of fun. That was William Sawalich. As he mentioned, he has double duty today, hopping into the Xfinity car in just a little bit.
All right. There is William Sawalich, second place finisher. He said it. He just didn't know what to do to try to keep Brent Cruz in sight. But, you know, William, really solid young race car driver, and to have him not even in sight of Brent Cruz, I think just shows just how good that 81 car was today.
Even though it's a runner-up effort for William, I think this is something that young man needed right now. I mean, it's been a tough road in his rookie campaign on the Xfinity Series side. It hasn't been since he had back-to-back top 10 finishes in races 2 and 3 of the season that he's been that close to the front. He's going to start up front here today. Shot in the arm could go a long way for him. And speaking of shot in the arm, the performance out of our third-place driver, Eloy Falcon, what a drive. Let's hear from him. Jacqueline's down there.
Yeah, we walked over to the car, and it's all smiles. This is your ARCA East debut and to podium, much less at the Rock. How exciting is it for you and the team to be able to do this on the Rock comeback weekend?
I think, first of all, I want to thank the Rev Racing team, all my family, Max Siegel, for all the effort. I mean, like, last year I was on late models, and this is my first race in ARCA. Obviously, thanks for all the team to give me this opportunity. We worked really hard on the beginning of the year, and now we are here. We finished P3, I think. With management, a good race, and obviously I want to thank also my coach, Rogelio Lopez.
Absolutely incredible job. Rounding out the podium today is in that third place, the number 10 of Eloy Falcon Lopez.
What a great day here at Rockingham Speedway. Some upcoming ARCA Menards Series East races here live on Flo. May 3rd, Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, one of the most legendary racetracks in the country. Flat Rock Speedway, my home racetrack, coming up May 17th. And again, live West Racing at Colorado National, May 24th. Kevin Harvick's Kern Raceway on June 14th. I think you're busy that day doing something as well. And Sonoma Raceway, road course racing with the West Series on July 11th. Well, folks, this has been awesome. Eric, I loved having you up here in the booth. This is a dream come true for me. So great to have you here, man. That's going to do it for us here at Rockingham. Congratulations go out to Brent Cruz and the whole Joe Gibbs Racing team for bringing home the checker. Don't forget, folks, FloRacing, your home for ARCA Menards Series East and West Racing and select NASCAR regional races. We'll see you next time, live from Nashville. Until then, so long, everybody.